Hello, young mathematicians. It's Mr. Giamini. Wanted to discuss lesson quiz 2.6 that was online through Pearson. My guess, because I've received a couple of emails regarding this assignment, my guess is that many of you attempted to do this lesson quiz without any paper and pencil in front of you. It's my intuition as being a veteran teacher for too many years to count. Let's take a look. Let's try to dissect each of these questions, break it down, see if we can't figure something out here. So it says, what is the perimeter of rectangle JKLM with vertices -1, 3, 2, 3, 2, -5, and M, -1, -5. All right, right now there are just a bunch of points on the coordinate plane. Let's just make a coordinate plane. Let's plot some of these points. All right, let's make this our x-axis, and let's make this our y-axis. All right, now I'm not going to get too detailed with my numbering because I see that I'm not going beyond, looks like I'm not going beyond 2 on my x-axis by looking at the x-intercepts. X-intercepts are -1, 2, 2, and -1. So I'm going to go to here. I notice on my y-axis I don't go any higher than it appears to be 3. So I'm just going to go up 1, 2, and 3. And it looks like on my y-axis I'm not getting any lower than -5. So I'll go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Also on my x-intercept, I'm not getting any smaller than -1. So I'll just go -1. So notice how I've made this coordinate plane, but I've really used the vertices, the vertices of this rectangle to dictate how big I make my coordinate plane. So the first point I see is -1, 3. -1, 3. I'll plot that point right here, and that is point J, vertice J. The next point is 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3, and that is point K, or vertice K. The next one is 2, -5. 2, -5, and that is point L. The next vertice is -1, -5, and that is point M. Now, first thing I notice, none of these are reflections of each other across the x or y axis. I'm just going to go ahead and connect these points using straight lines. So again, it might be a little perfect because when I plot these points, I'm not using exact precision. There's that. There's JM. Here comes KL. Now let's go ahead and connect JK and ML. So let's take a look. So first thing I want to do is I want to find the distance between J and K. Now, I could write JK over here. Its ordered pair is -1 is the x-intercept, y is the y-intercept. And then we have x-intercept is 2, y-intercept is 3. So if I take a look at this, I could see that the y-intercepts are the same. So I'm going to focus on the x-intercept. So I notice that they're in different quadrants. So what I need to do now is find the absolute value of these two and add them because they're in different quadrants. So I want to find the distance between J and K. So the absolute value of -1 is 1. The absolute value of 2 is 2. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Now it's a rectangle, so JK, the opposite side is congruent to ML. So I'm just going to put a 3 down here because I already know that opposite sides are congruent. Now I go down here and I say, hey, I have K and L. So let's take a look at points K and L, or vertices KL. K is at 2, 3, and L is at 2, -5. First thing I notice, they're in different quadrants. So I'm going to look at the intercepts. I notice that the x-intercepts are the same. We don't need those. We're going to focus on those y-intercepts. Because they're in different quadrants, rather than subtracting them, I'm going to add them. We're going to add their distance. So I'm taking a look here. The absolute value of 3, the distance 3 is from 0, is 3. Plus the absolute value of -5. The distance -5 is from 0 is 5. So I have 5 plus 3 gives me 8. And again, it's a rectangle, so opposite sides are congruent. So if I know KL is 8, I know the opposite side, the parallel side, JM is also 8. Okay, so I have 3 plus 8. Well, 3 plus 8 gives me 11. Well, wait a minute. This is also 3 plus 8. That gives me another length of 11. 11 plus 11 gives me 22. So the perimeter of that first shape that perimeter of that rectangle should give me 22 units. All right, let's take a look at question 2. So looking at question 2, it says Nikki drew a rectangle with a perimeter of 18 units on a coordinate grid. Two of the vertices were 4, -3, and -1, -3. What could be the coordinates of the other two vertices of the rectangle? Again, my suggestion would be to make a coordinate plane. It's a bit challenging to try to figure this problem out just by staring at it. So let's take an x-axis, and let's make a y-axis. So there's my x and my y. Okay, let's just plot these two vertices. So we're at 4, -3, and -1, -3. Now this one here, I can see that all these ordered pairs are quite varying. So I'm just going to plot right now these 2 points. So we have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go -1, -2, -3, -4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go 5, 1, 2, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So let's plot 4, -3. 1, 2, 3, 4, -3. 1, 2, 3. So let's plot that. I'll just call it A. All right, let's plot -1, -3. First thing I notice is these two share the same y-intercept, and we'll just call that point B. They share the same y-intercept. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these 2 points. It's a rectangle. So again, opposite sides are congruent. So let's just go there. Again, not precise because I'm not being very precise with my measurements here. Now, if I want to just figure out the distance here of these two points, so let's go 4, -3, and -1, -3. Again, the ones I don't need are the negatives. So I don't need the y-intercepts. I need the x's. Now, the first thing I notice is both of those are different quadrants. So I need to then find the absolute value of the x-intercepts because those other ones are different. I can find distance to do different numbers. I can't find distance between numbers that are the same. The absolute value of 4 is 4, plus the absolute value of -1 is 1. 4 plus 1 gives me 5. So this is 5, a length of 5. Now, it's a rectangle. Again, I was just going to make a random rectangle right here. So there's my rectangle right there. I know that opposite sides are congruent. If this side is 5, this side is 5. The total perimeter is 18 units. I'm going to take 18 and subtract from it the 10 units I already have because those opposite sides are congruent. So 18 minus 10 gives me 8. I have this side here and this side here. They are congruent. So I got to take those 8 units and split them up amongst both sides. So I go 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. That means each side here needs to be 4 units. Now, right now I'm at -3. If I go up 4 units, well, -3 to 0 is 3 units. Up 1 more is 4 units. So that would plot this point at 4, 1. If I go here and I plot this up 4 units, I'm going to go -3 to 0 is 3 units, plus 1 more gives me 4 units. Hey, that gives me -1, 1. There's my ordered pair, -1, 1, 4, 1. Hey, look at that. There is my answer. Again, it requires a little bit of math and drawing to help solve this. Let's look at the next question. Find the perimeter of this figure. Enter your answer in the box. So let's take a look. I need to find different lengths. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers I need to add. Let's just start from here. Go left to right like I'd read a book. -7, 3, 8, 3. Well, the 3's are the same. Don't need those. I need the absolute value of -7, the absolute value of 8. The absolute value of -7 is 7, plus 8 gives me 15. So that side is 15. I'll put that 15 over here. I go from 8, 3 all the way down to 8, -8. The x-intercepts are the same, so I'll focus on the y-intercepts. They are in different quadrants, so I'll add. The absolute value of 3 is 3, plus the absolute value of -8 is 8. 3 plus 8 is 11. Done with this side. Maybe I'll even highlight the sides that I'm done with so I don't reuse them. That way I can kind of make sure I get every single side. So not done with that side, and I'm done with this side. Okay, now next one. It's in the same quadrant. 2, -8, 8, -8. Okay, don't need the y-intercepts because they're the same. A little tricky. I take 2 minus 8, but it's the absolute value of this difference. Well, 2 minus 8 is -6. The absolute value of -6 is 6. So that length is 6. So I will highlight that. Don't need that anymore. I go here. -2, -8, 2, -1. X-intercepts are the same. We'll focus on the y-intercepts. I'm going to take the absolute value of -1 minus 8. Well, let's just think about this as 8 minus 1. 8 minus 1 gives me 7. So the distance between here and here is 7 units. 7 there. I've now done that side. I now go to the next one. I'm at negative 7, negative 1, 2, negative 1. Well, the same intercepts are the negative 1s. So I'll focus on the x-intercepts. These are in different quadrants. Quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Absolute value of 2 is 2. 7 plus 2 gives me 9. Last side is right here. Negative 7, 3, negative 1. They are in different quadrants. Negative 1 is 4 away from 3. Or negative 1 is 1 away from 0, which is the x-axis. And 3 is 3 away from 0, which is also from the x-axis. So 3 plus 1 gives me 4. Now it's just addition. 6 and 4 gives me 10. 9 and 1 gives me 10. 7 and 5 I think gives me 12. I'm pretty sure that 10 plus 10 plus 12 gives me 32. Put a 3 up here. 3, 4, 5. 52. Perimeter is 52 units. Alright, let's take a look. Next question. The coordinates of 3 vertices of a square ABCD are A is negative 2.5, 1.5, B negative 2.5, negative 3. For some reason I put a big space there. And C 2, 1.5. When point D is placed on a square, what will the perimeter of the square be? Well, first of all, it's a square. All sides are congruent. So really, I just need to find the length of one side and then multiply it by 4. I'll look at A and B. A is negative 2.5, 1.5. B is negative 2.5, negative 3. Same intercepts. Won't focus on it. I'm going to the y-intercept. 1.5, negative 3. They're in different quadrants, so I find the absolute value of 1.5 is 1.5. Absolute value of negative 3 is 3. 3 plus 1.5 gives me 4.5. One side is 4.5. I now multiply that by 4. That gives me 20. Gives me 18. The answer is 18. 18 units. Should be 18 units. Last question. Martin used a coordinate plane to design the garden shown. Each unit of the garden represents 10 yards. How many yards of rope does he need? From 1080 to 180. Well, distance from here to here is 9, right? But because each grid represents 10 yards, wouldn't that be 9D? All right. From here, 180 from 130. Well, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down. But because each uses 10, that's 50. From here to here, 70, 30, 130. Distance is 3 or 30. From here to here, 20. From here to here, 30. From here to here, 20. From here to here. Again, I'm only looking at the intercepts that are different. I'm ignoring the ones that are same. From here to here, 30. From here to here, 80 and 30 are different. It gives me 50. If I add 50 and 50, I can make another 50 here. I can make another 50 here. 100, 200, 300, 330. Plus 90, 330 plus 90, 330. So that gives me 90. That's, whoa, that's ugly. Try that again. 330 plus 90 plus 30 gives me 0. That's 12. 420 yards is the perimeter. Hope this helps you out. If you find any mistakes, let me know. Be happy to make corrections. Take care.